Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Today, I want us to look at VeChain, its valuations against Bitcoin, as well as Ethereum, the US dollar, the normal trends that we usually look at in regards to this asset. Um, as of recently, as you may know, Bitcoin has been going off the wall. It just peaked up over $40,000. It's back under. It's up 9% for the day right now. Um, Despite that, it's up about $3,000. And you can see, like for coins like Ethereum, like Uniswap, Basic Attention Token, Cardano, its Bitcoin valuations are down, which is something that we normally expect. But today, at least, VeChain's up. It's up 3%, 4% against Bitcoin. It's about 7% up against VeChain, and therefore up about 13% against the US dollar. And I just want us to look at these things because it is quite interesting to see how VeChain is holding up. Um, it wasn't holding up as well as Cardano, for example, against its Bitcoin valuation. You can argue, you could say it's the structure is about the same. But what's interesting is its Ethereum valuation. Now, the Ether valuation for VeChain is about 3,648 Gwei. We have retraced to the current price about 67, 68% for the prior local high for VeChain ETH. Um, for something like for this, what I was hoping for was that VeChain would continue to bleed into this area here. As I said before, if it didn't, then my loss. I would not be buying VeChain. Um, so with that said, we see the price rally, and although it stings a bit, I'm still not going to be buying VeChain at these prices against Ethereum. We could see something similar to say what we saw on May 24th, 31st, as we see a short-term rally followed by a longer-term bleed. Something also to note is just its US dollar valuation. We noticed that VeChain during this run kind of respected the 50-week moving average to some degree. It did a bounce here. Last week we saw it come back down to the same moving average, and now we see some kind of a bounce of sorts, which is something interesting to note, and something quite bullish in the case of VeChain. And so this is something that I really wanted to talk about because um, if there are going to be assets other than Bitcoin during this, period of Bitcoin maybe rallying to the 20-week moving average, and we see altcoins bleed, and even for the hypothesis theory that even when Bitcoin does break out of the 20-week moving average to the upside, we might see altcoins kind of bleed during that period, as what we saw in the last run. Um, we saw periods of Bitcoin coming up, altcoins getting outpaced. We saw altcoins kind of catch up a bit, and then during this period here in the fall, we kind of saw altcoins go down by the wayside for at least a little bit. And it's those periods that you kind of want to capitalize if you can on increasing your Bitcoin valuations or your Ethereum valuations. And it seems that VeChain might be one of those assets to keep an eye on at the very least. If it's able to hold positions like this, like it did back in November, then this is something that we need to take note of, right? Because we can even copy this pattern here, just as a fun little exercise, and you'll notice that it's quite the drop is kind of the same. The bounce then initiated the next rally for VeChain, right? We see this peak, then a drop, bounce off the 50 week, and then we're off to the races. And this sent VeChain from less than a penny to about 28 cents American. So these are the kinds of moves that you want to keep an eye on. And this could potentially happen. Now, the only caveat to this is if we take a look at week of November 2nd, where was VeChain? Week of November 2nd, we were here, right? We were in the buy region of VeChain Ethereum. At this point, we are not. Now, that doesn't have to be um, something to maybe discourage you, right? It just could be just market volatility, like where the prices are at the moment indicates that maybe VeChain uh, um, is going to hold valuations here against Ethereum for the duration of the cycle. You can argue that the bull run didn't really kick off um, until until like Bitcoin was truly at higher numbers, right? Like the environment here on November 2nd to where we are now is quite different, although the bearish sentiment seems to be the same. So that's something to take note of. Like one thing we can do is we can stack VeChain Ethereum, and then VeChain USD on Binance, and then really take a look at what's going on here. I'll flip it to the logarithmic chart. I haven't taken a look at this, so I really don't know. So the week of November 2nd, you could see that where was Bitcoin? Bitcoin was at $14,000. So we haven't yet hit the prior all-time high, which is $20,000. VeChain just came back down from a pretty big slump of against Ethereum, which brought the price down to about 77%. And the US dollar valuation dropped about so about 55%. So this is something to take note of here. Things you could say are quite similar. Some things aren't. During this period when VeChain on November 2nd, Bitcoin was well above the 20-week moving average, right? This situation we are not. And if the theory goes of applying what happens to altcoins when Bitcoin's below the 20-week moving average, altcoins tend to struggle. So as good as VeChain is doing right now with this bounce, which is why I wanted to note it because it is impressive. Do know that we're kind of in a different situation than we were the last time we were kind of bouncing off the 50-week moving average. So although this move here that we saw looks quite similar to what maybe we're about to anticipate, keep in mind that this might not happen until Bitcoin gets back above the 20-week moving average. Whether that's going to be soon is anyone's guess. It could happen this week, could be happening in the next couple of weeks. It could also mean that just Bitcoin's going to get rejected off the moving average, come back down, in which case we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for VeChain to pick up the pace. And maybe during that time, VeChain bleeds a little bit more, comes back into the buy region here, and then it's a better place of accumulation for Ethereum with Ethereum. Anyway, that's all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.